Hello and welcome to the January 5th, 2021 Hemp Show powered by CannTrade. My name is Mark Rastelli. I'm the CEO of CannTrade and the host of the Hemp Show. Kicking off the Hemp Show today, we have Andy Werner, the owner and founder of Werners Best CBD and Nature's Gifts CBD store in Avon, Connecticut. Andy graduated from the University of Connecticut in 1985 with an independent study degree consisting of a dual major in German and economics. Since 1993, he has been the owner and operator of the Language Link of Connecticut, a language translation company specializing in written translation. Andy started his CBD brand, Werners Best, in September of 2018 and opened Nature's Gifts CBD store in December of 2019 and is currently launching a new product line named Werners Gold this January. Thank you very much for joining us, Andy, and welcome to the Hemp Show.
Thanks very much for having me, Mark. Excited to be here.
Excellent. So you're launching a new product line this January called Werners Gold. Do you mind kind of starting back from the beginning, telling us where you got started in the CBD space with Werners Best, and then where you're going with Werners Gold and Nature's Gift CBD store?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So, I'm a child of the 70s and early 80s and had a lot of experience at that time, of course, with cannabis and whatever else might have been floating around. And, as life goes on, we find other paths and other interests. And one of those ended up being the translation company, which I ran for, which I still run, but we've been running that since the early 90s. Like all of us as well, we have parents who, as they get older, start having issues. My father ultimately had COPD problems, a lot of pain, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And that's what prompted us to get involved with the CBD again and become interested and curious about what was going on. This was all back in 2016 and 17. And we ultimately were able to convince my father to try CBD as an alternative to the Tylenol with codeine and the OxyContin that he was taking. And he found great relief with that, to the point where he never touched the Oxy again. And the Tylenol with codeine came down to, a reasonable usage per day. That encouraged me and convinced me to look into this as something to invest in, really. And I ended up going to several of the MJ Biz events out in Las Vegas, and actually met Adam at one of those. That was how I kind of connected with you guys. And since then, we have made some investments in different industry partners, as well as starting our own brand, which seemed like the best way to go. And we've been doing that since actively selling as a retail brand since January of 2019, and had great success introducing the brand at trade shows, events, etc., to the point where by the fall we felt confident that we should open a store. And so we looked for a good location and opened a store in December called Nature's Gifts. It's in Avon, Connecticut, and we retail all our products there. We have a few other brands in the store as well that we think are quality and reasonably priced. And that's sort of how we got going. One of the drivers for all of this was really to provide access to good quality CBD products at a reasonable price. When we were poking around, investigating and exploring partnerships with different manufacturers, the cost on the wholesale level was actually very, very high across the board. And finding partners that were reasonable with quality products was our goal. We did end up finding a great partner, and because of that, have managed very successfully to price our products in a nice sweet spot for the last year, and have directed a lot of attention to our product and our brand because of that, and the fact that the product works.
Excellent. So, the story about it, how it's CBD's helped your family. One thing that I definitely can resonate with is how it's helped myself and the businesses that we speak with. It's great to hear that it's something personal that helped bring you into this space and kind of open your eyes to CBD and cannabinoids and how they can have a positive effect on people's health. So that's excellent. Now, can we talk more about the products that Werners Best specifically has? What products you produce? What's kind of your, let's say, your flagship line, and then we can kind of move into Warner's Gold and what you're doing with the new product line.
Sure. So, like most people who've been playing in the space, we sell a lot of tinctures. They're very popular. We have a good line of full and broad spectrum tinctures. I have a couple of samples here I can pop up real quick and just let people take a look at. So these are all CO2 extracted. This is a 3,000 milligram broad spectrum product here. 2,500 milligram broad spectrum product.
For those people that are just listening, Andy's got some tincture bottles and some high quality products that he's going ahead and showing to the camera right now. So if anybody who's listening would like to go ahead and view those, you can click the links to check out their wholesale menu, or you can go ahead and check out the show that's going to be coming out later this month.
So the tinctures are great sellers. We have them priced, I think, at a point where a lot of people find them attractive as good options. We have a variety of flavors in those, but they're pretty standard CO2 extracted tinctures. And really the thing that we do with everything that we receive is we test everything with our own third-party labs. And we have a couple of labs that we like. One's local here in Connecticut, another one's a national lab down in Florida. And that's really not so much for us to confirm that the product's being manufactured to the specs that we want, but really it's for the consumer to know that when they buy something from us, that it has been tested in the final stage by us, even though we don't have to go out and do that. Right now, we do carry somewhere around 50 SKUs, so it is kind of expensive to do that, but we go out and do that. Another product line that we have that's very successful is our gummies. We have full spectrum, broad spectrum, and isolate gummies. We go straight to the 25 milligram serving size because we feel that anything less than that just doesn't come out economically viable. So for example, these are our 25 milligram full spectrum gummies. They have a great taste. They're not particularly sweet. They're not sugary. They have a pleasing texture to them. And those are vegan. They're pectin based, so they will ship. We've changed the recipe from a gelatin base, where we did have some trouble last year with the shipping because of the heat, especially when we ship out west down to Texas or Arizona or LA. So that tends to be a problem. Another product that seems to be very, very popular are the soft gels. These are 25 milligram full spectrum soft gels. Those are, again, 30 count jar, very, very good product. A lot of people like those for sleep.
Now, do you also offer the soft gels in a distillate and an isolate as well?
Yeah, so the Werners Gold product that we are going to be introducing, one of the differences between that and this full spectrum product is that is going to be a isolate CBD. It has a strong terpene profile, depending upon whether we're doing a nighttime or a daytime blend. So, for example, this is a jar of the daytime blend ones. And, these have, the daytime has, I think, 3 distinct terpenes embedded within it. oriented specifically towards focus, anxiety, and stress relief. They're 50 milligrams a piece, so they're nice and powerful. And the nighttime blend has 5 different terpene profiles. 2 of those are towards relaxation and sleep. So, for example, we've got a limonene in there and a terpeneoline. They're all so much fun to say.
That's a tongue twister.
But yeah, so I mean, we've done the research on the terpenes and, kind of figured out which ones make some sense to put into a daytime and or a nighttime profile. And that's one of the products that's going to be introduced here in January. It's all manufactured. We're literally just waiting on the packaging right now.
Okay. So, can you give us a little breakdown on what's the difference between Werners Best and Werners Gold? I mean, I know you started talking about it as far as the isolate in the soft gels and the terpene breakdown, but what's the difference in, say, the product lines, and then let's say the quality difference?
So one of the things that we've put a lot of focus on is education and providing the consumer with a good understanding of what products can do, what products can be beneficial in what areas, and we kind of guide them to different options. And education doesn't stop with the consumer. It also, it's us. We want to learn as well. So we're constantly exploring different things. And one of the things that we find interesting is, how can we introduce other parts of the plant and become more, make more parts of the plant bioavailable to the consumer, and understanding why we're doing it. And that study is leading us into terpenes and other methods of extraction. So for example, the Werners Best line is going to be sort of the phase 1 of the CBD world. It's going to be your CO2 extracted. It's going to be your straight CBD product, whether it's a broad or a full spectrum. There's not going to be a lot of special formulations or anything like that. It's going to be, we're going to take the CO2 extraction and it's going to have what it has. So for example, a lot of our broad spectrum CBD products have a CBN component to them. So they're beneficial for relaxation, sleep, evening, that kind of thing. The full spectrum ones seem to all have a little bit of CBC in them. Okay, that's the way those happen to come. That's not because we're asking for it. That's just the way they seem to test out. With the Werners Gold, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be formulating products specifically for an effect. So for example, the distillate capsules, the isolate there that has a daytime or a nighttime focus. We're looking at what we've looked at very hard and committed to a lipid extraction for tinctures. So we're now going to be introducing in Werners Gold very, very rich phytocannabinoid heavy tinctures. They're not going to be filtered. They're going to be because of the process, there's a much richer cannabinoid profile. So for example, with our 2500.
Oh, Andy, we're losing you a little bit when you go, when you look that direction and talk, we kind of lose the audio a bit.
Sorry about that.
You're good. You're good now.
With our 2500 milligram tincture that we've just had tested out, it comes with 7 milligrams of CBC and 15 milligrams of CBG per 30 mil, per milliliter. So it's a pretty good broad spectrum product, and it tastes very light and nutty. We don't feel that you need to add any flavor to that particular product. So that's really where we're going with all of this.
Okay. So real quick to sum that up, just to make sure I fully understood it. Werners Best products, it's really straight from the plant directly into the product. As far as
correct.
Yeah. So in that case, the COAs and the cannabinoid and the terpene profiles, they're going to vary slightly depending on the strain that you used to go ahead and extract and get into the product. And then the Werners Gold line, That's more of a specific formulation for a specific desired effect and purpose. Does that
Correct.
sum it up? Sweet. Well,
Correct.
excellent. I didn't mean to cut you off there at the very end, but our time is up. And so if you're interested in connecting with Andy and Werners Best, please add them to your network on CannTrade. You can also place orders and ask questions directly from the Werners Best Wholesale store, post in the webinar chat, also in the CannTrade feed, and in the podcast and YouTube show notes. Thank you very much for being here, Andy.
Thanks very much for having me, Mark. And, we look forward to helping some new folks get involved in the business and teaching them and advising them on what worked for us and what didn't.
Excellent. Well, awesome. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Thanks.